Hello, boys. Hopefully everyone's having a good Thursday so far, man. Once again, I'm Jordan. I'm your host of the Fantasy Football Pod. Might not have as much energy today. Haven't been feeling like myself the past week or so. Been feeling kind of sick, but I didn't want to miss out on doing the pod for us. I did want to make sure to get this done. Might be cut a little bit shorter than usual just because of my health, but I'm going to try to get through this and talk about a couple matchups that I didn't talk about the last time I went live from this past week that we had, because we had a lot of close matchups, a lot of matchups that really went down to Monday Night Football. One of the main ones included Kyle versus Bert. Kyle's team went off this week, was well-deserved, was well-needed. He was needing a spark in his locker room, and he got it this week. Tua with a great performance, Derrick Henry with a great performance, CeeDee Lamb with, I think, his best performance of the year. He went absolutely off. Yeah, it was best performance of the year with 12 receptions, 158 yards, and 2 touchdowns. One carry for 12 yards, 14 targets total. Really impressed by CeeDee Lamb this week. Michael Pittman had a pretty decent outing. Sam Laporta had a decent outing. So really Kyle's team went off this week. But it did come down to Monday Night Football because Bert still had Devontae Adams, Michael Mayer, Jahmyr Gibbs. And Jahmyr Gibbs played lights out. I mean, Bert's team played great. But it's just Kyle had some players play better. Devontae Adams with another disappointing week. He's been kind of on the downtrend lately, and Josh McDaniels just got fired. I believe Jimmy Garoppolo is not going to be starting for them anymore, so I guess you could say that's a little bit of upside for him, but been very disappointing these last couple weeks, or last 4, even 5 weeks, you could say, for him. Just not performing to his caliber. Otherwise, Lamar Jackson didn't have a great game either. Really, it was just A.J. Brown, Jahmyr Gibbs that really carried the load for you. Jordan Addison played great too. Just very unfortunate week. I'm not going to lie, I'm kind of surprised you did not start Jake Ferguson over Michael Mayer. I don't think it would have mattered. Well, it would have made it a lot closer, that's for sure. But yeah, very kind of shocked by that turn of events right there for you, Bert. I probably would have started Ferguson over Mayer for sure, but it is what it is. Great win for Kyle. He now goes to 3-5, and Bert's 5-3. So I'll go to me and Andy's matchup real quick. I did kind of already talk about this if y'all watched the last video, but in case you didn't watch the last video, I was very impressed by Gus Edwards. He had an amazing game, 3 touchdowns. Tyreek Hill played great. DeAndre Swift played okay. I mean, I didn't really have anyone else play lights out, you know. I mean, Donald Parham was a pretty solid tight end start for me since Gerald Everett was out. But I was very impressed with my bench. My bench actually played pretty solid for bench players. Very unfortunate Kendrick Bourne is out for the year, our top wide receiver in New England, so that's going to suck. We already suck already, but that just makes it worse. Very unfortunate. Now we look at Andy's team. Andy's team just did not play well whatsoever. He did have some disappointing performances from Tony Pollard, from Darren Waller. Didn't get anything from the defense, just got negative points. Just no one really popped off on Andy's team, and that was the difference maker. Was I had 2 players pop off. He didn't have anyone really pop off. So that was the difference right there. His bench didn't play too bad either. Calvin Ridley and Royce Freeman had somewhat okay games, met their projections, but overall very disappointing week for Andy's team, and we'll see if he'll have a bounce back coming up soon. Now, this was the closest matchup when it came to Monday night. I think it was the closest matchup overall. Yeah, it was. Dylan is probably sweating bullets. Jared Goff didn't perform to his projection, but he ended up getting the job done. Dylan wins by 0.8 points. So, congrats to Dylan, dude. He is now 4-4. Out of nowhere, Dylan is back in the mix. And that's all it takes. All it takes is a couple weeks, and you can be back in the mix. of being a team that could end up winning it all. And so, do I think Dylan's team's going to win it all with how they look right now? I don't want to say they will, but you can't count anyone out in this league. All these teams are very even. So, and he took on a pretty good team in Connor Tuck's team too. I mean, Tuck didn't have a lot of production from James Cook this week. Raheem Mostert was disappointing as well. He had decent wide receiver play. I mean, Jamar Chase definitely carried the load. Adam Thielen didn't meet his projection, but he played okay. Cole Kmet stepped up. Chris Olave didn't play great, but I would assume that would not continue. And three Washington players on his bench. Jahan Dotson was the guy to start this week. I mean, Curtis Samuel got hurt, so Jahan Dotson ended up having a pretty good week. But yeah, I mean, can't be nothing but impressed with how Dylan's team has responded since somewhat of the slander he was getting the last few weeks. His team has started to step up and perform well, but he barely carved out a win right here. So you take every win you can get. But yeah, very impressed. Saquon did okay. I mean, Jalen Waddle kind of carried the load. So did T.J. Hawkinson. So definitely something to monitor is T.J. Hawkinson with the rookie QB from BYU playing. I forgot his name. That they will be having start since Kirk Cousins is out for the year. Definitely someone to watch out for to see how he starts producing now with someone else. But typically, I believe QBs that are newer in the league, such as rookies, all that, etc., tight ends are usually safe targets for him. So I think we will see T.J. Hawkinson still play pretty well. Jordan Addison might be the one that takes a little bit of a downfall. Next up was Jason Carson. Jace's team went out and just absolutely dominated. I mean, Jace continues to put up some pretty big numbers every week. Sam Howell, Christian McCaffrey, monster games. Josh Jacobs, Chris Godwin, really good games too. Alvin Kamara with a great game. Mark Andrews played well. 16 from your kicker. I mean, just popped off once again. And I mean, the other thing is Carson can't be disappointed in his team. They played well. You just took on the wrong matchups this week, man. Trevor Lawrence played okay. Bijan played okay. Dalton Kincaid and Javonte Williams, Cowboys defense, Brandon McManus, all really stepping it up this week for you. Disappointing outing from Damian Pierce, Rashee Rice, even Keenan Allen for his projections. But, yeah, Gabe Davis on the bench kind of hurts you, but honestly, I would have started Rashee Rice over Gabe Davis, even though the weather was bad. But I don't really know. I think Rashee Rice was still the start there. Just unfortunate. But yeah, what a week for Jace's team. He goes to 5-3 now. So I mean, once again, Jace's team just looks really good. He's got some of the top running. He's got such a crazy running back room right now. He goes to 5-3, and Carson's now 2-6. Now we got Crew versus Seth. This was a little bit of a close matchup too. Didn't have no Monday Night Football implications, but was definitely very close. QB play here was huge for both of y'all, Joe Burrow and Jalen Hurts with monster games. That's really what it looks like is what it came down to was the running back play. Jonathan Taylor and Breece Hall outperformed Aaron Jones and Brian Robinson, as I expected. Just didn't really get much from the running backs. Seth's wide receivers, surprisingly, actually played better. Well, I wouldn't say surprisingly. I think he did have the better matchups this week. But yeah, Seth's wide receivers played better than Crew's this week. Devontae Smith had a really good game. That is good to see, Crew. Devontae Smith is definitely someone you should keep. I think he's definitely on the uprising. George Kittle with a monster game too. That was really cool to see. Very surprising you had someone with 0 points and you still end up getting a win. So you got to take advantage of that. But yeah, overall, pretty good dub for Crew now. He's back in the winning column now. His bench even played great too. So got some players to look forward to on your bench as well. And like I said, you still have Devon Achane in the mix. When he comes back, your running back core is going to look pretty insane. So Crew, I mean, hey, his team's looking good, stronger throughout the weeks. He is now 3-5. We can talk about Seth's team a little bit real quick. I mean, Seth's team definitely played a little bit better this week. I feel like it's good to see Joe Burrow finally playing very well. Brandon Ayuk, I think that was a really good player to go get. He had a pretty decent game. But overall, I mean, just the running backs is what disappointed you, Seth. And honestly, I mean, there's no one really on the bench you could have started. So, yeah, very unfortunate week for Seth. He goes to 2-6 now. Kind of fighting for that last place spot right now, unfortunately. But I believe Seth will kind of bounce back. I think Seth will kind of make this last place interesting going forward because everyone is completely not out of it still. Now we'll talk about Jack versus Connor. So Jack had a very slim chance to win when it came to Monday Night Football. He was needing at least a 40 bomb from Jacoby Myers, which is pretty much unheard of, getting 40 bombs in this league with the half reception rule that we have. So Jacoby Myers had one of his worst games of the season, 2 points. So the passing game that Vegas had was horrendous. And now they're making moves to kind of switch up their whole team. So you have that to look forward to. I mean, Jacoby Myers was already involved pretty heavy in the offense with Josh McDaniels as the head coach, but I wouldn't be too worried about his production. We'll see how Aiden O'Connell is passing the ball. We'll see. But, yeah, I mean, a big hurt for Jack's team now is he does not have a QB anymore. Kirk Cousins is out for the year, and he was having a great year to start. He was 5 in QBs this year. So that's a big loss for Jack's team. He now has to go find a QB on the waivers, or he could go and try to see if he can go get a pretty good QB from someone. For example, Jace, he's got QBs like crazy, so that's definitely someone you could shop with. But, yeah, just overall, a disappointing week for Jack's team. He just didn't get a lot of production from hardly anyone but Kirk Cousins and Joe Mixon. Jets' defense played pretty decent too, but overall, everyone else played kind of average. Not average, but underperformed. Cooper Kupp's been kind of disappointing these last couple weeks. I don't really know if it has to do – it definitely has to do with the Stafford injury. He did have 10 targets. So, I mean, his targets are still going to be there. Don't worry about that. Whoever is going to be the QB, I wouldn't be too worried. But, yeah, Puka, once again, outperforming him, but barely. I mean, Puka didn't have a great game either. But, yeah, what a good week for Connor's team. Connor Calavan's starting to step it up, too. He's now 4-4 now. Dak Prescott with a big week. Austin Eckler's kind of showing up now. I remember you did tell me he does kind of start coming alive late in the year, and I do agree with that. Wish you still would have traded him to me, but it's all good. Austin Eckler with a good week for you, so, I mean, that's something to look forward to. Terry McLaurin played great. He's starting to play a little bit better as well now. Washington's offense is just, it's very inconsistent, but, I mean, when it does pop off, do expect the wide receivers in that core to play great. Deontay Johnson's looking like number 1 in Pittsburgh right now. He's definitely getting the targets, that's for sure. If we look at his last game, he had 14 targets. So, yeah, Deontay Johnson, he definitely knows how to get open. So, that is a good wide receiver to keep. Definitely got to monitor his health and stuff like that. But overall, Evan Ingram had a good game too. Jaguars defense played great. So, yeah, man, I mean, Rashid Shaheed on your bench kind of hurts you, Jack, but, I mean, honestly, I wouldn't have started him over anyone. I mean, you could have maybe started him over A.J. Dillon, but that was a little bit of a toss-up. But, yeah, great week for Connor. He is now 4-4. Jack goes to 6-2. So, now with the last matchup we had Chance versus Bryce. This one also came down to Monday Night Football. We were kind of worried about Amon-Ra St. Brown coming into this Monday night matchup just because of his health. He was having an illness, but he still played pretty well. I mean, he barely didn't meet his projection, but I mean, yeah, I don't think he found the end zone, and that was really what hurt. Yeah, he didn't find the end zone. He had 9 targets, 6 receptions, 108 yards. So, I mean, he had a great game. Just did not put up the points that Bryce needed to win. Chance's team, I mean, Josh Allen and Travis Etienne carrying the load per usual. Travis Kelce with a little bit of a disappointing game, but it was because of the weather. It was because of Mahomes not being healthy. So, I mean, that's nothing to worry about whatsoever. Disappointing performances from his wide receivers. Zay Flowers and Christian Kirk didn't play well. Tank Dell didn't play well either. But, I mean, when you have Josh Allen and Etienne carrying the team, putting up numbers like that, you really could win some weeks with that. So, but very impressed with that. DeAndre Hopkins on the bench. That would have been I would have maybe started Hopkins over Tank Dell, to be honest with you. But it is all good. It didn't even matter anyways. We look at, 22 from Taysom Hill on your bench. Wow. Taysom Hill's had some pretty strong weeks coming up. He's now 9th in tight ends, so he might be someone to start going forward. I mean, Dalton Schultz, yeah, he had a disappointing game, but he's had a good year as well. He didn't play well last week. But yeah, I mean, you could maybe throw Taysom Hill in there. He's getting involved in this offense pretty heavy. So yeah, great week for Chance. He goes to 5-3 now, and Bryce is now 4-4. I mean, if we look at ETN these past few weeks, he's looking like he's number 2 in running backs. I mean, he's having a monster year. Josh Allen, I believe, is still number 1. He is questionable, right shoulder. But yeah, I mean, Josh Allen number 1 right now in QBs. You still have the number 1 tight end in Travis Kelce. So, yeah, what a solid team he has so far. DeAndre Hopkins is now 28 after that big week, it looks like. So, yeah, 5-3 for Chance, 4-4 for Bryce. All right. Let's go to these projections now for Week 9. We got a couple good matchups coming up, boys. Let's go ahead and start off with Chance versus Connor, 2 teams that got wins last week. Chance is projected to win a little bit. As we look at these matchups, give me Josh Allen over Dak Prescott for sure. But I feel like that Buffalo-Cincy game is going to be very interesting to watch. Give me Eckler over Singletary, but Singletary's got a little bit of upside coming in. It looks like Singletary's starting to take over at running back in Houston, surprisingly. So, give me Madison over Latavius Murray for sure. Terry McLaurin or DeAndre Hopkins, this one's a little bit of a toss-up. Hopkins, I think, does have the better matchup coming in. New England's secondary is a little beat up, so Terry McLaurin could have a good game too. But I think with the strong week DeAndre Hopkins I think I will go Hopkins because Will Levis, definitely his favorite target. Will Levis looked really great last week. So give me this one's a little bit of a toss-up too. I would probably take Puka over Zay Flowers, but I don't really know. We'll see how that QB play is going forward if Stafford doesn't end up playing. Give me Kelce over Higbee all day. Give me Deontay Johnson over Tank Dell as well just because of how many targets, and he's definitely looking like number 1 in Pittsburgh right now. Yeah, unfortunately, bye week for Travis Etienne and Christian Kirk, so that kind of hurts Chance's team a little bit. But this is going to be a good matchup. I really do think overall that Connor's team looks a little bit stronger this week, but Josh Allen could have another 40-point game. You never know. So give me Connor this week. I think his team just looks better overall. The bye weeks are really playing an effect for Chance's team. All right, next up we got Seth versus Jack. Pretty good matchup right here. Definitely some very low projections. Do we have bye weeks in effect? Brandon Ayuk, Cortland Sutton on bye week this week, so that definitely hurts Seth's team. Debo still out. So it looks like Jack is going with Baker this week at QB. I don't mind that. I think that might be a pretty good play. I mean, he did play good last week, so he does have a little bit of upside going up against Houston. So I I will take Joe Burrow over Baker Mayfield, though. Joe Mixon or Aaron Jones? Aaron Jones has been a little disappointing since he's came back from that injury. He's only put up 6 and 7. I would expect him to probably get involved more, but give me Joe Mixon over Aaron Jones. Give me Brian Robinson over A.J. Dillon just because Brian Robinson, I mean, it's been kind of tough for him too lately. He's only projected 8. That backfield's starting to get a little split up now. They don't run the ball that much either, so they do like to pass a lot. Give me... Oh, man, this one's tough. I mean, I want to say give me Cooper Kupp over Mike Evans. I mean, I think Cooper Kupp will still get more targets than Mike Evans in that offense. Give me Jacoby Myers over Shakir. Yeah, Shakir had a good week last week. I think that was just kind of a one-time thing for Shakir. Gabe Davis and Stephon Diggs are still going to be taking the majority of the targets. Give me Goddard over Logan Thomas. Give me Demercado over Shaheed, since Demercado's kind of leading that backfield for Arizona right now. This matchup, who I got winning, I think I might have to roll with Seth this week. The wide receivers for Jack look better. But I think Seth's team is going to win this week. I think he'll finally get back in the winning column. Next up, we got Carson versus Crew. Crew's got a 57% chance to win. We do have some bye weeks in effect. No Trevor Lawrence for Carson, but Geno Smith is still a solid start. No Javonte Williams as well. No Jerry Jeudy or Kittle for Crew, so Kittle's a little bit of a loss, but Njoku had a strong week, so that's something to look forward to. Give me Jalen Hurts over Geno. Give me Jonathan Taylor over Bijan. Give me Breece Hall over Damian. Give me Keenan Allen over DJ Moore. Rashee Rice or Devontae Smith. This one's definitely a toss-up. Devontae Smith, I think, has the tougher matchup. I think Rashee Rice is going to have a big game this week, so I think I would take Rashee Rice. Dalton Kincaid or David Njoku. I like Kincaid right now if he's going to be the top tight end in Buffalo. He had a really good week last week, so I would definitely probably keep him in. Gabe Davis and Tyler Lockett. This one's a toss-up too. It really just depends. I think probably give me Gabe Davis. But yeah, I think Carson's matchups look better personally, even though Crew is projected to win. Crew's running backs look a lot better. Jalen Hurts could have a big game as well. I mean, he's number 2 in QB play right now. Geno Smith is 22. Give me Crew this week. I think Crew's going to get the win. I think his wide receivers will still play pretty decent. Good enough to not outperform his wide receivers, but I think enough that I think his running backs will play pretty well. So give me Crew this week. Next up, we got Tuck and Jace. This one's going to be a pretty good matchup. No Christian McCaffrey this week for Jace, so that's definitely a big loss. No bye weeks in effect for Tuck's team, so that's good news for him. Give me Herbert over Howe. Give me Kamara over Cook. Jacobs over Mostert. Give me Jamar Chase over Godwin. Thielen over Collins. Mark Andrews over Kmet. Olave over Michael Thomas. This one's going to be a good matchup, I think. Tuck's team does look a little bit stronger coming in just because McCaffrey is out. Jace could still sneak this win, though. It's going to be close. This matchup's going to be really good. I think I might roll with Tuck's team this week. We got Burt versus Dylan next up. Very low projection game right here. Dylan hasn't made a QB change yet, but he will need to go make a QB or go get a QB. Deshaun Watson is questionable, so you could maybe throw him in there this week if he ends up playing. But if not, there's a lot of QBs to go pick up. Give me Lamar Jackson over if you do start Deshaun Watson or anyone else. I gotta take Lamar Jackson over anyone. Give me Saquon over Jalen Warren. Najee Harris or Kareem Hunt. I would probably go with Najee Harris if Jerome Ford is coming back. AJ Brown over Jalen Waddle. Give me. I gotta take Devontae Adams over Josh Downs just because I think Adams is bound to have a bounce back week. So give me Hawkinson over Meyer. Give me Addison over London. I was going to say you might want to start Jake Ferguson this week over Michael Meyer. Burt. Jahmyr Gibbs on bye this week, so that kind of hurts you. I would take Burt this week. I think Burt's going to get the win. Dylan's team just doesn't look strong. Andy versus Kyle. Kyle coming off the win. Andy coming off the L. Give me Tua over CJ. Give me Derrick Henry. Oh, I don't know, actually. That one's a little bit of a toss-up. Tony Pollard could have a pretty good bounce-back week. It's going to be a tough matchup for both of them, though. Give me Kenneth Walker over Darrell Henderson. CeeDee Lamb over Garrett Wilson. Pittman or Amari Cooper? I might go Pittman. Pitts or Hunter Henry? Give me Pitts. Romeo Doubs or Marquise Brown? Give me Marquise Brown. Bye weeks in effect. Yeah, no Calvin Ridley, but you weren't really starting him in general. No Sam Laporta. That kind of hurts him at tight end for Kyle. I think Kyle's team overall looks better this week. Give me Kyle. And then last but not least, me and Bryce, last matchup of the week. Looking forward to this one. Me coming off a dub, Bryce coming off the L, but he barely lost. Give me Mahomes over Derek Carr all day. Rashid White or Stevenson. This one's a little bit of a toss-up. I kind of want to lead towards Stevenson. I think his matchup's a little bit better. DeAndre Swift or Pacheco. I would probably go Pacheco this week just because Swift has a pretty tough matchup in Dallas. Give me Hill over Stephon Diggs. Yeah, it's going to be very close, but I think Hill's going to have a better game. George Pickens or T. Higgins. This one's a toss-up. I'd maybe lean towards T. Higgins a little bit. Probably Dalton Schultz over Luke Musgrave for sure, but you could throw Taysom Hill in there too. Zach Moss or Jerome Ford. This one's a little bit of a toss-up too. I'm kind of deciding who I want to start at flex right now. It's either going to be Zach Moss or Gus Edwards, but Gus Edwards is questionable. That's why Zach Moss is there currently. But I would probably go with Zach Moss. His matchup is pretty good too. I mean, Jerome Ford could have a good week too, but Amon-Ra St. Brown on bye hurts you. Brock Purdy on bye kind of hurts you too, even though Brock Purdy's starting to play kind of bad. I mean, but Derek Carr's a pretty solid start. But yeah, I got to roll with myself this week. I think my team looks better this week, but it could be a pretty close matchup. So, all right, boys, we'll look at recent activity real quick, and then I'll probably go ahead and hop off. Anything intriguing? As I'm looking on here, I mean, Seth's starting Shakir this week. He dropped Michael Wilson. Jace added Julio Jones, dropped Matthew Stafford. I added Treylon Burks just because Will Levis kind of looked pretty good, so maybe Burks will have a pretty decent week. We'll see. Yeah, I mean, otherwise, Jaden Reed had a pretty good week. Dropped McCole Hardman. I like that. Carson, Jaden Reed's looking like he's been a favorite target so far in Green Bay. Leonard Fournette got picked up by Jace. Demario Douglas could sneakily have a pretty good rest of the year with Kendrick Bourne being out, so I like that pickup for you, crew. He could end up actually playing pretty well, so I don't mind that whatsoever for you. Carson's starting Geno Smith this week. Trey McBride, definitely a very intriguing tight end going forward after the big week he had last week. We'll kind of see how he plays this next upcoming week. I don't know if we talked about that. We do have the trades that happen. Javonte Williams and Rashee Rice for Devontae Smith. Very interesting trade there. I would say it is somewhat even, but I think Crew might have won this trade, to be honest. And then you obviously had the Brandon Ayuk, T. Higgins trade that happened last Thursday too. So, but yeah, just a couple moves that players made. Anyone on waivers currently worth picking up? We'll look at QBs first. If anyone's looking for a QB this week, definitely Will Levis. Will Levis, with the strong week that he had, he's definitely got some upside coming in, so he might be a good, solid start for someone. You could also get Daniel Jones just because of his running game. Kenny Pickett has a pretty good matchup this week, so maybe as well start him. You could. Let's see. Running back wise, nothing really intriguing running back wise. Wide receiver wise, maybe Juju, but I don't know. Running or wide receiver wise, not really much intrigue from anyone. Maybe Scantling. Tight end wise, not really. Maybe Cade Otton. Defenses, could go Patriots this week against Washington if Washington doesn't have the week they did last week. So, but yeah, boys, that's pretty much it. Hopefully y'all enjoyed this pod. I'll add it into the YouTube later so y'all can watch it. But hopefully y'all enjoyed this and y'all have a great rest of your day. All right, peace out, boys.